It's the morning of the 1st of July, 1916. You are standing at the bottom of a trench in northern France, and above your head an officer is lifting a whistle to his lips. When it blows, you will climb a ladder into the open. So will 719 other men from your town. Within the first hour, close to 600 of them will be dead or wounded. You don't know that number yet. You only know the man beside you, because you grew up with him. This is the 11th East Lancashires. Everyone calls them the Accrington Pals. 2 years ago, you didn't enlist alone. You enlisted together, same street, same mill, same football club, on a promise the Army made in the autumn of 1914. Join up with your friends, and you will serve beside them. Nobody spoke the other half of that promise out loud. If they served together, they die together. This is your last morning. This is how you got here. Every Sunday, we give one forgotten life its mourning back. The people history reduced to a number. Subscribe so the next one isn't lost too. Now, go back 2 years. It's September 1914. The war is 6 weeks old, and everyone still believes it will be over by Christmas. In your town, Accrington, a mill town in Lancashire, the mayor announces that the town will raise its own battalion. Not conscripts, volunteers, local men led by local men. The idea is simple, and it is brilliant, and it will turn out to be the cruelest thing anyone ever offered you. You don't have to go to war among strangers. You can go with your friends. So you go down together. The lad you sat beside in school, the 2 brothers from the end of your street, the team you played football with on Saturdays, the men you stood next to at the loom 6 days a week. In little more than a week, the town raises 1,000 men. You are one of them. You are proud. Your mother is proud. The whole street comes out to watch you march to the station. You are going to see the world, and you are going to see it with the people you love. For over a year, the war stays far away. You train in England. You learn to march, to dig, to fire a rifle, to obey. You are given a uniform and a number. In the winter of 1915, they send you to Egypt to guard the Suez Canal. And for a few months, the war is sunshine and boredom and letters home. Then, in the spring of 1916, the orders change. You are put on a ship, and then a train, and then you are marching in the dark toward a low rumble on the horizon that never stops. That rumble is the Western Front, and it has been waiting for you. But before Serre, before the whistle, there are the ordinary days, and the ordinary days are their own kind of war. You learn the rhythm of the trench. An hour before dawn, the most likely time for an attack, the sergeant wakes you for stand to. You climb onto the fire step in the dark, bayonet fixed, and you wait for a raid that usually doesn't come. As the light grows, both sides fire blindly into the mist. The men call it the morning hate. Then breakfast and the rum ration, 2.5 ounces from a jar stamped SRD. The men say it stands for seldom reaches destination. Then the waiting, and the trench does not wait alone with you. The rats come in their millions. They have grown fat because they have been feeding on the dead in no man's land. The lice live in the seams of your uniform and never leave. Some men catch trench fever from them and shake for weeks. If you stand too long in the freezing water at the bottom of the trench, your feet begin to rot inside your boots. Trench foot, and if it turns, they take the foot. You take your turn on sentry duty, 2 hours staring into the dark. If you fall asleep, the penalty is a firing squad. This is the boredom. It lasts for months, and it is only ever broken by terror. By late June 1916, you are in the trenches, facing a village called Serre. You cannot see much of it. It sits on a low rise, a few hundred yards across the churned, dead ground they call no man's land. Somewhere in front of you is the German wire, and behind it, the German army. Then the guns begin. For 7 days and 7 nights, the British artillery fires without stopping. More than 1 million shells. The ground shakes so hard you cannot hold a mug of tea steady. And the officers tell you what it means. Nothing will survive that. When you go over, you will walk, not run, walk, across no man's land, and you will find the German trenches empty. The wire will be cut. The guns will be silenced. It will be, they promise you, a stroll. You believe them. Why wouldn't you? But at Serre, the Germans are not dead. They are 30 feet underground, in concrete dugouts the shells cannot reach, waiting for the moment the guns stop. And in front of their line, in too many places, the wire is not cut at all. None of you know this yet. On the 30th of June, the night before, a man in your battalion sits down to write home. His name is Sam Hardman, Private, W Company. Like you, he came from these streets. And like thousands of men along this line tonight, he writes the most ordinary letter imaginable. No fear in it, no goodbye, just a son talking to his family. Being busy isn't the word for it, he writes, but cheer up, we will soon have the war over. He signs it, I am your loving son and brother, Sam. He folds it and it goes into the mail. Up and down the trench, men are doing the same thing, writing home, sharing cigarettes, trying to sleep. Some of these letters will arrive after the men who wrote them are already dead. Families will open them and for a moment hold a living voice in their hands. The 1st of July. Before first light, the order comes down the line. Stand to. You climb onto the fire step. Someone comes along with a rum ration and you drink it, and it burns, and it helps. Your pack weighs more than 60 pounds. Your rifle is loaded. Your bayonet is fixed. At 6:30, the guns rise to a fury you have never heard. The final hour of the bombardment. Everything they have, all at once. And then, at 7:30 exactly, the guns stop. The silence is the worst sound of the war, because in that silence you can hear birds. And on the other side of no man's land, you can hear something else. The Germans, climbing up out of the earth, dragging their machine guns to the parapet. The whistle is at the officer's lips. 7:30. The whistle blows. You climb the ladder. You come up into a bright summer morning, and the world is enormous and open, and there is nowhere to hide. On either side of you, in long straight lines, 700 men rise out of the ground and begin to walk. Not run, walk. Those are the orders. Dressed lines, steady pace, rifles held across the body as if on parade. You take perhaps a dozen steps. Then the machine guns open up. They do not fire at men, they fire at lines, sweeping left and right, and the line simply folds. Whole sections of the men you grew up with going down together in the space of a breath. The German gunners are so confident, they run a machine gun out into the open, into no man's land itself, to catch you as you come. And then the German artillery finds you. Behind you on the British side, a brigadier general named Hubert Rees is watching his men go forward. He will never forget it. Years later, he writes it down, and his words are the truest thing anyone ever said about that morning. I have never seen a finer display of individual and collective bravery than the advance of that brigade. And then, down came a perfect wall of explosive. It was the most frightful artillery display that I had seen up to that time. You keep walking, because that is what you were told to do, and because the men beside you are walking, and you will not be the one who stops. Some of the pals reach the German wire and die on it. A handful, a few impossibly, reach the edge of Serre itself, the village you were sent to take. They are killed there or captured. Not 1 yard of that ground is held. It has taken about 20 minutes. That evening, what is left of the battalion gathers behind the line, and the regimental sergeant major, a man named Stanworth, calls the roll. He reads the names the way he has read them 100 times before, and he waits. Of the roughly 720 Accrington Pals who climbed out of the trench that morning, fewer than 100 answer. 235 are dead, 350 are wounded in a single morning. In the brigade as a whole, of 2,600 men who attacked, only about 550 come back. For 3 more days, the survivors crawl back out into no man's land, at night so the guns can't see them, to drag in the wounded who are still alive, and to bury the friends who are not. Now think about what a PALS battalion really meant. Because these men enlisted together, they died together. And so the telegrams did not arrive in a town spread out, one here, one there, over years. They arrived in Accrington in the same week, the same streets, the same church pews. A generation of a single small town, the boys from the mill, the football team, the brothers from the end of the road, gone in one morning on a hillside in France they had never heard of a year before. That was the other half of the promise. Nobody had said it out loud, but it was always there. Zoom out, one last time. The Accrington Pals were not alone that day. All along the line, town after town, the same thing was happening at the same hour. The 1st of July, 1916, this single day, cost the British Army around 57,000 casualties. 19,000 of them were killed. It remains to this day the bloodiest single day in the history of the British Army, and it was the first day. The Battle of the Somme went on for another 4.5 months. When it finally ended in November, the front line had moved about 6 miles. You are one name in that number. One whistle, one ladder, one morning. History remembers the Somme as a date and a casualty figure and a lesson in a school book. But you were not a figure. You were a boy from a mill town who signed up because your friends were signing up, who believed the men who told you it would be a stroll, who climbed a ladder into the light because the man beside you did. They gave the survivors a medal, eventually. They built a memorial. They read the names once a year. But the person who could have told you what it was actually like, that was you. And you went up the ladder at 7:30 into a bright summer morning, and you did not come down. Every week we tell the story of one person history reduced to a number. Subscribe so they're not forgotten again.